Waterfall, the CCW podcast.
Hello and welcome to Waterfall. It's the water savings podcast brought to you by CCW. I just think I called it a prodcast, but let's just run with it. It's a podcast, not a prodcast. We're all about saving water, saving money, protecting the environment and combating climate change. I'm Mike. I am here with the guru. It's Karen. Hi, Karen.
Hello, Mike.
You always sound happier when I call you a guru.
Well, I'm just hoping I live up to your expectations.
Well, I think we've established that way back in an episode. I can't even remember which one, where we talked about the reference the BBC made to you about you. Remember? Oh yeah. So you are you. You have the seal of approval from the BBC. So I think I've got every right to call you a guru, and you can, be loud and proud about it.
Okay.
And of course, he is the top producer. Our finest. It's Tom. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Mike. Hi, Karen. And yes, it's a podcast, not a prodcast. I feel like we gently prod listeners with our water saving tips, so it's not too much of a stretch. But yes, hi everyone.
Good job there, Tom. I was waiting for a prod-based pun to appear.
I'm a Protestant, so yeah.
You did well. Right. We've got a really interesting episode coming up, because we have been doing our occasional series of looking around the world. So, we've gone to, where have we been? Well, very recently we were in the States, weren't we? With Tony V, and what a wonderful episode that was. We've been to Malawi as well. We have been to Greece too. And today we are off to Colombia, which I can't wait. I'm drinking some coffee right now. I'm not sure if it is Colombian. I don't want to say, because our guests might get cross. So we've got two brilliant guests. Anna and Luis will be on, and one of them is live from Bogota, which it's awesome. So we've got a fantastic episode lined up, which I'm super excited about. But before we get into that, we've got some really big news, don't we? We have been wondering for, well over a year now, what on earth does Karen do with her water? You've finally got your water meter fitted. So come on, Karen, spill the beans. First of all, tell us the story about your water meter.
I think it's fair to say that there was a bit of confusion about when my meter was installed. So I've been waiting and have finally got round to talking to my local company and have got my meter in place. And I'm very pleased to say that, having followed all our tips on water saving, and obviously I do practice what I preach, I've been quite impressed with how my water use has come down quite a lot. So
come on, the big reveal, Karen.
I want a drum roll.
Oh, well, it's been a long time coming. I don't think a drummer can play that long.
Well, the good news is, if you were to look at our water table from an earlier episode, I would actually come in fourth after the guest we had from the RHS, Mark Gush.
Wow.
My average water use, when you look at, as an average basis, is around 58 litres of water a day.
Oh my word, that is incredible. But Karen, look, that is very impressive. And your guru status is, it was cemented already, but now it's like, it's not just cemented, it's gold plated, it's platinum plated. That is mightily impressive. But you can't just do a catheters and place yourselves wherever you want on our water table, or our league table, because you are going to be featuring in Series 3's league table, not Series 2. So that's gone, Karen. That's gone.
Well, in that case, I'm going to have to start trying a bit harder, aren't I?
No, I think you might be winning in this series so far. Again, now I'm doing a cath, right? But that is fantastic. And do you know what? You have looked 10 years younger since you've had this water meter fitted. It's like the pressure is now off you. You were weighed down with this burden that you might have been giving out hypocritical advice here.
Well, and again, it goes back to what we've said on numerous occasions. But I'm not doing anything that's really sort of making a drastic impact on the way I live my life. I'm just doing all those simple things like keeping the jug by the kitchen sink, catching the water in that, doing all those things that we've encouraged other people to do. So yeah, it's working.
And of course, some mulching.
That as well.
And so I think now there's only one member of the waterfall team that sticks out like a sore thumb. Producer Tom.
Yes. I will get it soon. I want to be on the table. I don't know if I'm going to place as high as Karen. But this is what we've learnt, Mike. We're speaking to all these titans of the industry and they don't even know. So what does a lowly podcast producer know,
Well, we'll keep on prodding you until you give us your you give us your water use. So something to look forward to in future episodes. But Karen, seriously, mightily impressive. And that is wonderful. Now, before we bring on our guests now, let's just remind people you can get in touch with the show.
You can indeed. You could email us on podcast@ccwater.org.uk.
And of course, you can see us on social media, Twitter/X, depending on your preference, Instagram as well, and occasionally on Threads. So just search for Waterfall Podcast and you will find us there. Right. We've got fantastic guests coming on now. 2 real life Colombians telling us all about it was a fascinating story of what's going on in Colombia. So let's just bring on the guests.
Be sure to head back through the archives and check out all the past episodes of Waterfall.
So it's great to have 2 guests on Waterfall. We have got Ana Millan, who works for CCW, but is from Colombia. And we've got Luis Alejandro Camacho Botero. Luis, welcome, and Ana, welcome. Luis, I'm just going to start by asking, how much have I butchered your name?
Okay, no, thank you very much. It's just Luis Camacho. That's fine.
Luis Camacho. Okay, good. Well, now we've got that established. So you are in Colombia right now, right?
Yes, I'm in Colombia at the University of Los Andes in Bogota.
Right. So live from Bogota. Brilliant. Ana, you're not in Colombia. Where are you?
I am in Southeast London at the moment.
Southeast London. Okay. So we've got an eclectic mix of locations. Luis, you work in a university, right?
Yes, I work as a professor here. Yeah.
And can you tell us a bit about what you are a professor in? Because you're very well qualified to be on our podcast.
Well, I'm a water resources engineer. I work in environmental engineering and water quality modeling in rivers mainly.
Wow. So we could probably record maybe half a dozen podcasts with you.
Yeah.
You could.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that he's seen worse water quality than what we have here.
And Ana, just again, so how do you know Luis?
We used to work together back at the university about over 20 years ago.
Wow. Okay. So long-term connections here.
Yes.
Ah, fantastic. I can tell by both your cheeky smiles that this is a proper friendship and not just some I've rung you up after 20 years. Do you remember me? No, but thank you both for coming on. And we're super excited to talk about the water situation in Colombia, things we could learn for the UK as well. We've done a few episodes where we've gone to different countries, and they've been really well received. So the bar's been set high, and I'm optimistic we're going to smash it with this episode as well. Now, according to our extensive research, something happened back in 1997 in Colombia, which was pretty significant when it came to water resources. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, of course. Well, in 1997, we used to bring water from a very sensitive high ecosystem in the mountains. It's called Chingasa, the Chingasa Paramo. That's where we bring the water from. And we built a reservoir there and some tunnels to bring the water just by gravity to Bogota, which is at 2,600 meters. And one of the tunnels collapsed, and there was an emergency. The city was running out of water, and then the mayor and everyone was very concerned, and a lot of campaigns started to spare water. Not to use that much at home.
And were you both living in Bogota at the time?
I was.
Yeah,
I was, yes.
So you both lived through this. Was there a sense of panic when this tunnel collapsed?
A little bit. There was a little bit.
How long would it take to repair?
Well, it take a couple of months. It was more than 60 days.
So this was basically a massive reduction then in the water available and no alternative.
Yeah, we used to have a reservoir. It's called San Rafael Reservoir. it gives us some days of I mean, to in just that case for an emergency to survive, and that was what uh, what makes the difference. I mean, that reservoir.
How many days supply did that reservoir have then?
Well, it used to have 60 days, but then at that moment was not full of water. I mean, so it was short of water as well.
Oh, wow. So the clock was ticking in terms of something needs to be done. So what did they do then to try and manage the situation?
What I remember was the mayor mostly going on TV and saying you need to do simple things to help us and to help you reduce your water use. And it was the things that we all talk about. You know, back then he suggested putting a brick inside a toilet cistern, turning the tap off when you brush your teeth, collecting the water from the shower as it heats, showering together. He also recommended that one. But people were not sure that would help to save water. But that's a different story. And I think that's pretty much it, because in Bogota, most people live in flats. So there's no outdoor water use, or very little. And you would take your car to the car wash and that sort of thing. So it was mostly around personal water use and reuse as much as you could. So, for example, whatever you collected in the shower, to use that for cleaning or in the washing machine, and use full loads of the washing machine.
And did it work?
That really works. I mean, people start, being conscious about sparing water at home. I mean, I remember that of the sink. I mean, you put also some bottles, some like soda plastic bottles with. We used to put some stones on the bottle so that they don't turn on, so that when the toilet flushes, the bottles keep filled, and that was sparing water.
Oh, like a hippo, a displacement for inside your system. Oh, yeah, no, that's really fascinating. Did they do anything with pricing to encourage people to use less?
The thing is that in Bogota, water is very expensive, and you also get frequent water bills. I can't remember if it's once a month or once every 2 months.
Every 2 months, every 2 months.
So people were able to see how much money they were saving by doing those small things. So after a while, people kept doing those things, or most of them, because they could see the effect on the water bill.
Yeah, Anna, but after the emergency, I mean, the water bills really went up. I mean, I was doing today the calculation. I paid like £25 per month for my water bill. And I remember when I was living in London that I didn't pay that much. I mean, I was paying 6 months in advance for almost £60 or something for 6 months.
That's very interesting. So back in 1997, you were paying £25 a month, so basically £300 a year.
Yeah, it went really, really up. You don't pay that much for electricity and gas. I mean, the water bill is the highest.
It's expensive.
It's very expensive.
So in Colombia, just to be clear, because it's the exact opposite here.
And how many people were living in your house, Luis?
We were 6 of us. I mean.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And at that moment, I mean, you remember, Anna, I mean, there were some houses with gardens, but now anymore. I mean, as you mentioned, now people live mainly in flats. But at that moment, I mean, it was forbidden to rain your garden, and it was forbidden to wash your car. But because at that moment in 1997, people used to do that. But after that, not anymore. I mean.
Well, this is really fascinating stuff. What's the so how long did the emergency last for? Well, until they repaired the tunnels and got back to a more sort of sustainable situation.
About 2 months?
Yeah, after 3 months, it was, I mean, more or less. But people start to get conscious. I mean, there was an incident before that in 1997. Do you remember, Anna? It was called when the electricity shut down. I mean, it was because of El Niño event. We used to have 85% of hydropower here in Colombia for the electricity, and in 1992, I mean, all the reservoirs were without water, and we have to shut down the electricity. So people, that event from 1992, they have it here in mind. I mean, it was also to do with water, right? And then in 1997 again, people were more or less prepared and get conscious about where are we bringing water. No, we are bringing water from a very, I mean, it's the hotspot of biodiversity in tropical Andes. I mean, it's the Paramos ecosystems where we are bringing the water. So people are very conscious about that, and I think every time more, no, that we are bringing water from the Paramos.
Well, that's really interesting because you had basically had two very big events within the space of just a few years that really hit home just how important water resources are for our daily lives. When things then went back to normal in terms of the tunnel was repaired, did the water use bounce back to normal levels, or did things stick? And just interested to unpack that.
It's curious. I mean, it's very, very interesting is that, the demand went down. I mean, and people started, changing their sinks and changing I mean, it really went down the water demand. And it came down to 85 liters per person per day, which was amazing. I mean, for a city of 8 million people.
And what's that now? How does that compare to today then?
Today went a little bit up. I mean, now we are about 92 liters per person per day, which is also, I mean, is amazing for a city of 8 million people, no?
Yeah, that is so impressive. And I have to say, it makes the UK's long-term target of 110 litres per person per day look absolutely terrible and really unambitious. Because what it does do shows you it can be done, right?
Yes, and I think it's fair to say that people don't go, or that most people wouldn't go out of their way to save water. It's because they might buy the water-saving sink, the water-saving taps, the toilets, and take short showers. But it's nothing, like stop flushing the toilets or stop showering altogether. They still keep going with their day-to-day lives and day-to-day routines.
This podcast is brought to you by CCW, the voice for water consumers.
I'm interested in the fact that 1997 is 26 years ago. Yeah. And that means there must be a whole generation who are growing up who didn't live through that event. So is there something culturally that is now being passed on to future generations in terms of water saving?
Yeah, I think all our parents, were very concerned about that. And I mean, all the kids in Colombia, the father and mother will say, don't shower too long. I mean, spare water. I mean, it's keep telling you, it's the importance of sparing water. And actually, I mean, if you see, in year 2000, we were about to do a big investment in a new reservoir at Chingasa Paramo and the Sumapaz Paramo, and I mean, hasn't been done. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, the water that has been spared has saved us to do new investments and to bring more water from the Paramos, which is, I think that's the most amazing thing, like that really is, you have seen that in the water utility, sparing investments.
Wow, now that is really significant. So let's just get this clear. There was plans to build a new reservoir, right? But those plans were then shelved because it wasn't needed, because water demand stayed low. Is that right?
Exactly. I mean, the investment plan has been delayed. I mean, because it's not needed.
Wow. Can we just have a little sidebar? Okay, any water resource planners in the UK listening to this, take note, right? Listen to Luis. Okay, this is really significant because we often hear in the UK, we often hear people say, well, we can't rely on demand management because it's very uncertain and it needs people's behaviors to change. Therefore, we still need to build a lot of big stuff. But actually, you're saying that doesn't necessarily have to be the case.
I think it's a combination of both the behavior change and the price signal. And the combination of behavior change, price signal, widespread metering, and frequent water bills.
Here we have universal metering. I mean, everyone has a meter in in their house. I mean, it's compulsory. I mean, it's not optional. I mean, you have to. Water is metered in every house.
That's really interesting. So was there universal metering in 1997?
Yes, I mean, actually, in 1992 we have a new legislation, and I mean, it was compulsory in 1994 to go to the universal metering. In Bogota, we were about 94 in 1992, 94%. And then we went up to 98 and 99% metering. And all the capitals, all the big cities in Colombia have already 99% of metering.
So metering was in place, there was a strong price signal, and people were getting frequent bills. All those were in place, which then put you in a much better place to cope with a big shock, which was this tunnel collapsing. Is that right?
Yeah.
I just see there's a recipe. There's a recipe here for other people who want to learn how to do this stuff, right? I'm not saying we should all have tunnel collapses. That's probably not the best strategy. But there are a lot of lessons there for Colombia. So what about now? Fast forward to now. What's your water resource situation today? I mean, you've already said you didn't need that new reservoir, but what about the impacts of climate change? Are you under water stress? Just tell us a bit, bring it to life for us.
Well, every 3-4 years we have like a El Niño event. No, now we are entering an El Niño event. It's a thing of climate variability. It's not that much climate change, but it has to do. I mean, the frequency of El Niño has increased because of climate change. And down during El Niño, I mean, we have less water. So we start preparing ourselves because we have hydropower. I mean, now it's not 85%, but now the matrix is like about 66% of hydropower in Colombia. But we get prepared. But we are worried about the atmospheric rivers. Like if we keep deforesting the Amazon forest, we will get less water vapor coming into the mountains and less water in our paramos. So that's what is worrying us at the moment. The deforestation of the Amazon rainforest. I mean, we should cut that deforestation, because otherwise we will run out of water in the future, no? Because of the atmospheric rivers. I don't know if you had heard about that concept, but it's all the water vapor that is coming from the Amazon forest, going into the cordilleras, the mountains, and going up and then condensing the water. If you keep deforesting the Amazon basin, we will get less water vapor coming into the system.
And how variable is the annual rainfall then in Colombia?
Well, rainfall is about 3,000 millimeters in Colombia. I mean, it's like 3 times the South American rainfall. I mean, we have a lot of water vapor coming from the Atlantic, from the Pacific, and from the rainforest. So it's lots of humidity coming into the country and condensing because of the high mountains.
And what about within the country? Are there dry zones and wetter zones?
Yeah, I mean, we have lots of water. I mean, there is the conscious of too much water, and then that is a problem too, because in the conscious of the Colombians is that we don't need to do, for example, wastewater treatment. So we are very, very much behind of other countries in wastewater treatment. So we are polluting our rivers and our water resources because there is the conscious that there is too much water, right? So you don't need to mitigate, conservate, to do the treatment, which it's a problem, right?
Yeah. Well, hot topic here in the United Kingdom as well. So what happens to wastewater then in Colombia in terms of treatment? Is it just discharged into water courses? What's the situation?
I mean, the situation is very bad. I mean, we are treating domestic water we are treating it like 30%. So 70% of the wastewater from all the cities is going out without treatment into the rivers and the ocean. So it's really bad, the situation. Plus, I mean, if you think about mining, if you think about agriculture, runoff, and also industrial pollution, so the situation gets really bad. I mean, for example, mining, we have these gold mines, putting cyanide and mercury into the rivers without I mean, so it's really bad.
And are you seeing that it has a damaging effect on the environment and also for downstream abstraction? Does that mean that some of these watercourses are just unusable?
Yes, most of them, and there are lots of health problems, right? People having, irrigating with nasty waters, so it's lots of health problems because of that.
And what's the public view of this? Is it acceptable?
Again, there is that much water. I mean, all the rivers flow into the ocean, in the Orinoco Basin, the Amazon Basin. Is about 90,000 cubic meters per second. You know that the water that is leaving the country every second. So it's lots of water. So the conscience of the people is, I mean, we have water, no problem to pollute, our rivers. We haven't used that much groundwater, for example, and the water resources, the groundwater resources are huge. I mean, and we haven't used it because of the surface resources.
And do you see any change in the mood of the general population in terms of the attitude towards pollution? Because I ask this question because in the UK it's become a very big issue, right, and rightly so. The damage that we are doing to the environment through discharging sewage into rivers and streams.
Yeah, I think, I mean, our politicians talk about climate change. They talk about flooding. They talk about, landslides, but not about pollution. I mean, there is no conscience still, So I have started, to work with artists, with many people, trying to get that conscious up because I mean, that will take us, I mean, the pollution will come, and so hopefully, I mean, that will start, that conscious. I mean, because what you say is totally right. I mean, if there is no conscious in the, the people, the middle class and everything, there is no pressure, no political pressure to our leaders. Nothing will happen. So we need to to work on that.
Pollution has become a real hot topic in the UK. So, I know you've said your politicians are not that interested right now, but I hope that's not always the way, right?
Yeah.
We are running out of time, unfortunately. I'm really enjoying this conversation. Just in terms of, I've got three things I want to ask. Tom's giving me the look of like, we're out of time here.
Well, yeah.
But just quickly, you've given us that recipe of metering, price signals, and frequent bills that can help. Is there anything else you think would really help other people who are wanting to reduce their water use? Learnings from Colombia.
I think the price signal is probably the most important. I mean, people really have to pay for water bills, and that's as I said, they are higher than electricity and gas and any other public service. So that's why.
I think for me, from a practical point of view, that it's very easy to save water at home. It doesn't take a lot and it doesn't change. It changes your life in the sense that there's more water available in the environment, but it doesn't change your life as to what you do in your home.
Second question is nothing to do with water. Just what's the best thing about Colombia? Luis, you first. Best thing about Colombia. Just for our listeners, bring it to life.
If you visit a Páramo, you will connect with the earth. I mean, we call it the Pachamama, which is you really connect with the earth. You feel your life, and that your life has a sense, in the world. I mean, they're beautiful ecosystems, and hopefully we can keep them safe. They're very high up in the mountains. It's a very beautiful. Yeah, I think it's 3 weeks ago I was in where the Bogota River is. The mouth is El Huachineque, and he said, "Really, I can show you the photographs, and you will not you believe that that exists." So it's really beautiful.
Wow, life affirming, life changing. Wow, I think Anna, how'd you top that?
I don't think I can, but I can say that one of the things I really miss is proper tropical fruits.
Anna, do you remember you forced me to have a Colombian breakfast? Do you remember in London?
Oh yes,
we had a very
did.
early meeting. That was awesome. So my taste of Colombia, I was very impressed. Where was that? That was somewhere in South London.
That was in Elephant and Castle.
Elephant and Castle. There we are. Maybe if you give them a shout out, Anna, you'll get a free meal.
Maybe.
Do you remember the name of the place?
No. It was under the arches in the train station.
There we are, under the arches, Elephant and Castle. There you go. Right, final question, which I think you both know is coming, which is we ask all our guests what their personal water use is in terms of litres per person per day. Let's mix it up a bit. Anna, you can go first. What's your numbers?
92.
92, very good. Yeah, excellent. Great. Lewis?
About 110. I mean...
110? I didn't expect that one. Still, I mean, they're still both decent figures. I mean, given that you've just told us lots of ways to save water in this last half an hour, I'm not going to ask you what you do in your own lives, but both of you knew your water use, which is important because we have a lot of guests do not know. In fact, in Series 3, it's been quite disappointing. Yes. So, yeah, thank you for that. And thank you both for coming on and telling us about a bit about Colombia and the water situation there. It was a fascinating story about what happened in 1997. And I'm sure our listeners will find this really fascinating too. So thank you both so much.
Oh, thank you for having us. And thank you, Luis. Muchas gracias.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
CCW, passionate about championing the best interests of everyone who uses water, now and in the future.
Well, there you go. What a good interview. I'm on a high after listening to all that stuff about Colombia. Karen, what did you make of that?
Well, I mean, it's really interesting, isn't it? And I think what was quite impressive was the fact that having an event like that with the tunnel collapsing really brought people together with a sort of a combined kind of desire to get through it.
I think that's a really good point because it gave a focal point for everyone to pull together.
And the other thing, of course, is people were then able to see the direct benefit through their bills, which is why people have continued to be more careful with their water use. So they got through that event, but importantly have seen ongoing benefits from using water more efficiently. So I think that's really good.
Yeah, I just think there were so many lessons in that episode that people listening here in the UK could take and apply here. It also feels like they've got a sewage scandal waiting to happen.
Yes, indeed. And I guess there are going to be a lot of places around the world who are struggling with similar challenges. And, there's been a focus on that here, obviously, as you alluded to, but we're not alone.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like it's a matter of time before people just say enough is enough. This isn't acceptable in terms of what we're doing to rivers and seas. So really, really thought-provoking stuff there from Louise and Anna. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Just before we go, let's remind our listeners how they can get in touch.
You can email us on podcast@ccwater.org.uk.
I was just waiting for Tom to say, surely that's podcast. But anyway, he missed his chance.
Am I that predictable?
And don't forget, check us out on social media. Just search for Waterfall Podcast. So, run out of time. It's goodbye from me, Mike.
Goodbye from me, Karen.
And goodbye from me, producer Tom.